Good morning and welcome to Outnumbered. That's that time when we bring you to speed with the headlines for the day. My name is Ramsey Enoch and I have Rachel Abioye with me.
Good morning, Ramsey.
Good morning, Rachel. And of course, Comrade Samuel Danjuma is right here.
Good morning.
Good morning, Comrade.
Good morning.
You're welcome. Let's begin with the first paper that we have for the day, and that is the Guardian newspaper. I'll begin with the big story from the Guardian. The big story says over 120 extortion points, double travel time, travelers pain in Southeast. It's a big story and you can get it on page 4 and 5 of the Guardian. Then moving away from there, another story here says bandits abduct director near military base as reports city rising impact of insecurity. Well, I don't know why this should happen near the military base, meaning that means nowhere is safe. The details of this you can actually get on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. A CBN intensify action against speculators as Naira rebounds slowly. A whole lot happening to our Naira. Then finally from the Guardian newspaper this morning, rerun elections. Voter apathy looms as IGP restricts movement in 26 states. The details of that you can get on page 8 of the Guardian newspaper. And there's going to be the size of the headlines from the Guardian newspaper as we move to the next paper. Over to you, Rachel.
Thank you, Ramsey. Let's go straight into the Nation's newspaper. On the Nation's newspaper says pressure mounts on abductors of Ekiti pupils. You can find that on page 5 of the Nation's newspaper. The big story on the Nation's newspaper this morning as regards the Naira's fall says CBN moves against banks for hoarding $5 billion. Under that story, Apex Bank deploys monitors in DMBs to enforce compliance with extant rules. Still on the Nation's newspaper this morning, State Police way to go, says governors, legal giants, orders. And the last story I'll be taking this morning, INEC excludes PDP from by-election in Plateau State. Over to you, Comrade Samuel.
Thank you, Rachel. And on a sad note, the Vanguard talking of the kidnapping of children. After Ekiti, more children kidnapped in Benue. Herdsmen kill 15 in Agatu. Bandit demand cough syrup, rice, 290 million to release 7 hostages. Abducted Ekiti peoples, school parents, community launches, crowdfunding for ransom. This is not a good one. When you have the issue of child kidnapping, that's a very bad one, and the government has to sit up when it comes to the issue of insecurity, because our children are the future of this nation. So we have to do everything we need to do to make sure that this children are okay. Then we look at another story is why government should remove subsidy. You find the story of the children kidnapped on page 5. This is why government should remove electricity subsidy. Sorry, Power Minister. That's on page 9. Tinubu congratulates Dangote on big bagging Senegalese award. I think this is not the best time to start doing this because of the level of insecurity in the country. And 7 months, not enough to fix Nigeria. FG. Is that a good one?
All right. Well, if you ask me, I'll tell you it's not a good one at all. All right. Thank you, Comrade Samuel. Thank you, Rachel, for those headlines. Let's quickly look into the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Let's see how trustworthy it's going to be with the headlines. Another big story here from the Daily Trust. It says Nigerians decry rising cost of living. It's no longer news. Looking at what is happening, people are dying. People are dying. One of the papers said relatives are being trafficked for just 30,000 naira. That's to tell you that there is hunger in the land. Then I have some writers to that story, and the first writer says the rice cost us 70,000 naira, flour 44,000 naira per bag. The second writer to that story says cement 7,000 naira per bag. Another one says it's now difficult to survive in Nigeria. Then the last writer to that story is coming from LCCI, and it says tame inflation, tackle insecurity. That's part of the problem that we have. Then very close to the header, I have this one which says Ekiti abduction. Our children left without food, beaten by captors. That's pathetic. Children, we're talking about kids here. Then finally, from the Daily Trust newspaper, this one say Gaza. NLCIA ask ICJ to halt genocide against Palestinians. That is on the international scene. And that's going to be the size of the review this morning. The headlines, I beg your pardon. The headlines, that's going to be the size of it. But then, remember, we want to go on a quick break. And there is one part of our number that a lot of people long for. And that's the time for the big story. The big story will be coming on your way after this break. Don't go nowhere. We're returning back. Ramsey, Rachel, and Comrade Samuel. We will be back after this break.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleketv. Visit our website at www.oweleketv for a thrilling journey. Oweleketv, rising star at the fairground.
Welcome back from that break. It's been a wonderful time with Ramsey, Rachel, and Comrade Samuel. Well, want to go into the big story now. And anytime we tell you it's a big story, you know what it means on that number. The big story is coming from the Vanguard newspaper, and it has to do with state policing. From the Vanguard, it says, establish state police to fight insecurity. PDP governors tell federal government. You know, the issue of state police has been in the pipeline. Proposals have been made. Yesterday, on one of our reviews, we talked about it when a former Minister of Defense said, well, the insecurity situation in this country is so much that the police alone cannot handle it. And today we are seeing it in the paper where PDP is saying state police should be established. What do you think about this? Will they be able to handle the situation? What about compromise? Remember, there is something that a lot of Nigerians are very skeptical about, and that is compromise and different experiences that Nigerians have had with the police officer, the Nigerian police force. Let me get to Comrade Samuel at this particular point in time. Comrade, we're talking about state policing here, and you know how it means. Sometimes you are my enemy. Okay, just an example, and you are now a state police. What is that probability or the assurance that you may not be coming after me? And holistically, what do you think about this thing being said by the People's Democratic Party?
Thank you, Ramsey. The issue of state police is overdue. I'm happy the governors are now the one championing it, because I remember when this issue came up a few years ago, the State House of Assemblies were the ones who countered it, and this did not fly. Now, the issue of the state police, when I say is overdue, it's simple. We have the issue with the federal police because somebody from Edo State we posted to Sokoto. He feels that he can do anything and will go away with it. But whereby my next door neighbor is now the police officer. He knows he has nowhere to go to. He knows he has everything. He must do everything possible to see to it that we are secured. He will do his best. We know very well that he's from this community and he has to give back to the community. That shows that we're not going to take our security, the security of each community, now by our own self. And it's going to be done legally. Yes, there's the fear of being misused by the state governors because we know how powerful our state governors are in court. But no, the first thing is we need this. I was going to make an illustration. A few weeks ago, I was in my state. After seeing my dad, I was supposed to stay in the state capital. But on my way, I had this notion not to move further due to the level of insecurity in the country. And I decided to stay over so I won't move in the night. And I stayed in the town where I grew up. And the minute I drove into the town, I saw 3 men walking up to me as I parked at the recreation center to get something. And I was eager to come out of the car to know why they were walking up to me. And I noticed one of them knew me and we greeted and he said, "Oh, you were the one." And why were you guys walking up to me? And they said they noticed there was a new car in the environment. And they wanted to know who was in it and what was the person's mission, because my car is tinted and my number plates were covered. That is people taking their security into their hands. People who are becoming security conscious. Everybody knows who is who in that environment, knows when a new face comes and all that. So a state police will help us curb the issue of insecurity, because if state police, someone who is employed from the state, will know the terrain of the state, like I said earlier, and we're able to nerve this insecurity in the board even before it happened.
But then, let me come in. You're talking about where we have vigilantes, like we have the Oweleketv and the rest. Why not empower those vigilantes instead of spending more money? You know how the system works. Instead of spending more money, if you want to go into state policing now, a lot of money is going to be involved. And, this trust of a thing, witch hunting and all of that. Why not empower Oweleketv? I'm actually saying this because you say the state police, they will understand the environment than someone who has been posted from another state. Why not empower and make it legal? I'm talking about the vigilantes now because they know the nook and cranny of the community. They even know the individuals. Why state policing instead of empowering the existing vigilantes?
In more advanced clan, you have what we call the Chicago State Police, you have the New York State Police, and you still have sheriffs, which are what we call the vigilantes here in this part of the world. Now, we have to make it more effective. And when I talk about more effective, that means there's going to be training and retraining of those people. We need people who are also educated, who can also communicate from both sides of the divide, who can speak the language to the locals and also can communicate with other non-indigens who are residing in those communities. So if you look at the present vigilantes, they are not that educated enough for you to put that kind of a huge assignment in their hands. So creating of state police is also going to create employment for the people. The issue of unemployment is on the increase, and this is one of the things that breeds crime. So by the time we have state police, we are going to absorb the issue of unemployment. We are also going to absorb the issue of crime because an idle mind, as I said, is the devil's workshop. So the creating of state police is going to be of a great benefit to Nigerians than what we think might be the disadvantage. So it's better we have the state police now. Is the time for us to have the state police well trained and also work on the vigilante, which are the sheriffs in other clans. So both of them will work hand to hand, and also in collaboration with the federal police. And the issue of insecurity will be the thing.
All right, and just hold your thought for a minute. I may be returning back to you. Let me speak with Rachel a little bit. From what he said, PDP is the one saying this, and PDP was in power for some years before APC came in. Why didn't they establish this? This state policing. Now they are recommending it. They are proposing it. They are advising the non-government to do that. That's one. Then secondly, do you see these people meeting the insecurity situation of the country? Remember, the army, the military have been doing their best, and their best is not good enough based on the present situation on ground. If you ask me, that's what I feel. So on your own part now, what do you think about it? Two, number one, PDP saying this, why didn't they do it during their time? Then secondly, how viable and how effective do you think this state policing will be?
In Nigeria, one thing our politicians are good at is advising the government, the people in power. You see, when Tinubu government leaves office now, they'll start advising the next, the next people in power. So it has been like that. So that's not even news at all. On this issue, for me, it's not just about creating state police, or whatever. It's about reforming the entire system. Because yes, we could have state police, even local government police and whatever, and it won't change anything. Remember, the major reason why the idea of state policing is coming in is to be able to curb the issue of insecurity. And that should be the main purpose, the main reason. So it's not just about bringing in state policing. Yes, they can create it tomorrow and nothing changes. The thing is, even with the federal police we have now, can that be restructuring? Is it this same set of police officers we have down the road? At night you're going or you're driving through Abuja roads and they don't even search you, nothing. If you're able to give them something, some of them, they let you go. They don't even care what is in or what is not there. If we're able to reform the system, restructure the whole thing. Yes, if you're bringing in state policing, beautiful, fine. But are you just bringing you want to recycle the same people we have now? If it's to recycle, okay, this police officer stay in your state, this one in your state. Is it the same people that want to use? If it cannot happen now, why do you think if we bring in state policing, it's going to happen? Why do you think insecurity is going to stop if it is the same people we have? If they're able to reform the system, you want to bring in state policing, it's beautiful. But reform the system. What training are you going to give these people? What training are you giving them to be sure that, okay, if we do this, the main purpose for which we are doing this, you know, is going to be fulfilled. If you're bringing in, it's beautiful. If you want to even bring in local, even Amotekun, you're talking about Amotekun, if you want to bring in even these local people, the only thing is training. Train them to do the right thing. It doesn't matter whether state, whether federal, whether vigilantes, whether whatever. If you're able to train this, even a normal civilian, if you bring in a normal person, you give him the right training. He knows.
You're in support of the fact that the vigilantes can be trained.
They can, yes, they can be. I'm not saying state policing is not a good idea. It is, but is it this the recycling want to continue with? You can bring in a civilian, a young person, train the person if he knows the right thing to do. If you cannot bribe him with 10 naira and he's going to collect and he's not going to do the right thing, if he knows what to do, I tell you the truth, this issue of insecurity is going to stop. The reason it has not stopped is because we are still recycling these people into, and that's the same thing we have in government. The same politicians will keep recycling them and nothing is going to change. So it's not the issue of state policing or no state policing. If you want to do state policing, beautiful, but let us reform the system.
If you want to do state policing, beautiful, but then let's reform the system. I think where the problem is coming from is the system and that thing called corruption that has eaten deeply into the fabrics of the society. You know, state policing, beautiful, but I don't know if we can forecast and know that these people will not also compromise certain things the way the federal police is doing it. We just heard from one of the papers that if you're traveling to the southeast now, it takes you a longer time because of checkpoints. What do? Just fold your hand, do something. And we've heard, okay, this band, there shouldn't be checkpoints anymore, this and that, but then nothing happens. It is still the same thing. Well, it should be looked into. If it must be done, it should be done correctly so that Nigerians can feel the impact and the effect of it. This is going to be the size of our number today. It's been a wonderful time. Thank you very much, Rachel, for adding your voice to the conversation. Thank you, Comrade Samuel, for adding your voice to the conversation. Well, like I told you, it's actually big. Get to the comment section, drop your comments. If you've not subscribed to the channel, do that as quick as possible. Put on the notification button so that you will be the first to be notified if anything is coming up on the channel, because a whole lot is right there for you. My name is Ramsey and it's been Rachel and Comrade Samuel. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye for now.